Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum. I'm Marquette, and we're so glad you're with us to stay curious. Marty Winkle, my co producer here. We're trying a little different intro, so just make sure I'm not scratching my nose or something there, Marty, at the time. And look at what we have behind here. We have got our heart out for you as we are creating a campaign, a Galaxy of Giving campaign for the fall season, so you can help support the American Space Museum and our proud nonprofit, the U.S. Space Walk of Fame Foundation. We are a nonprofit. We are needing financial money all the time, and we are going to create a campaign for our museum, an annual campaign that they've done over the years. They built Spaceview Park and raised $1 million for that beautiful facility in downtown Titusville, just 3 blocks from where I'm sitting. But in today's climate, we need operational funding. We need other ways for you to have your tax exempt dollars reach us. So we are reinstating our Galaxy of Giving campaign, and my executive director, Karan Conklin, and our board of directors will be working hard to present you a PBS fundraising style program here. And we're serious about this because we're serious about keeping our museum open, and we're serious that we need financial support to do that. And really, what has happened is some of the grants have dried up for the facilities like ours. The auctioning resources for us is changing somewhat, though we'll still have that there. But and we're grateful for all of that money from the auctions that we raise. We'll be talking about our 26th auction, October 7th, all next week, off and on. So, Marty, good to have you here. We are all we if you want to donate money to the American Space Museum, there's Mr. Winston Scott. An interview we had showing you that at the bottom of the YouTube broadcast is a donation button that says thanks, I believe, with a dollar sign. And you can give from $2 up to $500 on that sliding scale. And our IT director, Bruce Jacobs, will note that, and we'll send you a big thank you for that. So it's tax deduction time, folks. Not to really think about that or your generosity during the holidays. And Winston Scott, thank you for supporting the American Space Museum with all he does, of just basically telling everybody, hey, we're a great place. But Winston's also a financial sponsor there. Make no doubt about that. So let's get to what is happening in space, Marty. And that is, we have Laurel O'Hara has become the 606th human and the 75th woman to orbit Earth. She is about to dock with the International Space Station with her crew that was launched this morning, actually 11:25, and a very quick 2 orbits, I think, maybe 3 orbits, to dock with the International Space Station. That's one of the most direct routes of all. I pulled this off of a screen grab. That is not the Soyuz rocket, Marty. That I don't even know what rocket this used there. That looks like a Falcon Heavy or Falcon 9 with a big payload from the Cape here. That's certainly not Russia, but I caught that after I loaded that up. Here's the crew going out for their launch this morning. With her is Laurel O'Hara. To the left was born May 3rd, 1983 in Houston, Texas. All right. A Houston native. She's 40 years old. She's a Purdue now. She's got her master's degree from the University of Purdue. Her general aviation aerospace engineering degree from University of Kansas, UK. And Laurel is accompanied there by, let me get the astronauts there. In the middle is the commander and experienced astronaut on his 5th space flight, Oleg Konenko. And then Nikolai Chubb is on the far right there, and Nikolai is his first space flight. They will all be part of Expedition 69 and then transition into 70 when the 3 crew members of 69 come back maybe next week after a full year in space. That includes Frank Rubio, who will be the most experienced NASA astronaut. He is now without coming back. So they always want a Russian and an American on the International Space Station. This ensures both countries have a presence on the station and the ability to maintain their separate systems if either the Soyuz or commercial crew vehicles are grounded for an extended period, like happened with the Russians being stranded up there because of a leak in their Soyuz spacecraft. So I think that docking was going to happen around 3 o'clock. I didn't get to check and see if it had happened, but we now have 7 people on the International Space Station. We've got the crew of Dragon 7 up there, and so that is a cool thing. And what I think is really cool is since 1961 and Yuri Gagarin, 606 astronauts have orbited the Earth in 62 years, 75 of them women now, with Laurel O'Hara being the latest to add to that. 531 men, and Marty, my co-producer, come up with the term Karmanauts. That's what we call the suborbital astronauts that are a little over 40 now. We haven't had one of those since we haven't had a Blue Origin one in over a year since Sarah Sabre, Marty, but we did have a Virgin Galactic sent up of 4 people about a month ago. So that number's approaching 50 there. So, but I think that's a very low number, but also shows you how hard it is to do, Marty. So, do you have a comment?
No.
Okay. Moving the light there a little bit. Oh, we're getting the background.
I don't know what that is.
Something on the background there. Okay. Let me give it a little shake over here, Marty. We're always happy to hear from our fans of the Space Museum, and we had Yohei Morito, a Japanese space geek gentleman, was here, and he sent me this morning. He said, "Mark, I enjoyed your museum very much. I'm back in Japan and finally had time to write up some of my blogs of the Crew 7 launch viewing experience." But he said, "Here's the photo I wanted to share with you the other day." That is Nakoa Yamazaki on the right, one of the finalists for astronaut selection, talking to Chikai Mukai. On the left there, the first Japanese female astronaut. She was on STS-95 with John Glenn. And they are in the house of Koichi Wakata for a birthday party of yet another astronaut candidate in Japan for JAXA. And this was in Houston. And thank you, Huey, for sharing this photograph of now Japan too. These two ladies are both legends. Mukai on the left, the first Japanese astronaut, and then on the right, the beautiful Nako Yamakaze. She was on STS, I want to say 130, somewhere in there. To me, my friend Huey says, this photo of two ladies talking was kind of a defining moment. So thank you for sharing that, my friend. And also thank you to who? To Tom Usiak. Thank you, Tommy. He just texted me, quote, "That was an excellent program with Tom Jones yesterday. Definitely one of the top 10 of Stay Curious." And that means a lot, Tom Usiak, who we're going to see a picture of you in the past, as we're going to share your STS-79 photos today. But thank you, Tom Usiak. That means a lot. Marty and I really enjoyed Tom Jones. He had big eyes wide open as he walked around our museum. And we all feel it was one of our better conversations. And Tom thoroughly enjoyed it. So I'm glad it came off well. I just have to work on those ums and ahs a little bit, Marty. But we do the best we can here, and we love it that you all appreciate us. And we're going to be hitting you up to appreciate us financially, as our galaxy of giving heart here in the background reminds everybody that our nonprofit does need your support. Well, also want to advertise that a great movie, A Million Miles Away, based on the true story of Jose Hernandez, who went from a migrant worker family working in the fields as an 8-year-old boy to becoming his dream an astronaut. And Marty, I kind of get goosebumps on my arms thinking about it. It was a movie where I fought back tears of joy, and just an emotional movie. A lot like, it's on Prime Video, started yesterday, so you can see it there. You'll enjoy it. And there's a story that we reproduced from Collect Space, interviewing some of the astronauts on this mission, which included Nicole Stott, our friend. STS-128, I think, was his flight on there. But want to promote that. There's one of the pictures from it. The actor, who was the actor that paid it? Michael Pena is Jose Hernandez, a million miles away. Should have shown a picture of Jose. We'll talk about it next week there later. The only qualms I had with it was they didn't have a mustache on Michael Pena there, okay? Because Jose's always had one. But very good movie. If just not about him, a lot of astronauts had the trials and tribulations of getting in, and the perseverance. He got in on his 12th try, right, Marty? Yeah. Do you have a comment about the movie, Marty? We saw it together at the premiere.
Yeah, I thought it was an excellent movie. I really enjoyed it. I'm not sure about the tears portion of it, but but it was very good. I highly recommend watching the movie.
It's a good feel movie. Shows you a lot about, what the if you want to do something, you definitely can. So, wanted to give a little shout out that you're going to hear a lot about a month from now is an eclipse of the sun. That is good. The Ring of Fire eclipse is what they're going to be calling it. It'll be our good friends in California will be seeing it. Doug Forrest will be seeing it. I think it's a 9:30 in the morning event. The sun will not be totally covered up in this band that you see on the left. It will be far enough away from the earth that it won't cover the sun completely, and there'll be like a ring of fire around it. Now, on April 8th, 2024, is another great American eclipse like we experienced 5 years ago, where the sun will be completely covered up, and it goes over my hometown of Findlay, Ohio. And I promised my 91-year-old mom I'm going to be watching it beside her, whether it's, I hope it's not raining, but even if it's cloudy, which there's a 50% chance in Ohio in April, it's going to be cloudy, it'll at least get dark in the afternoon. And then, but everyone will be talking about these two eclipses. For the best information, go to your local astronomy club or science center. They will be gearing up with the October 14th partial eclipse. As you see over here in Florida, it's only going to be half of the sun's going to be covered up, yet we're going to have an event. On the East Coast, the October 14th event starts at about 11:30 on Saturday, October 14th, and ends at about 2:30. But the sun's half covered up. April event will be fully covered up, and you'll hear about that ad nauseum. There's the totality path of what we call an annular eclipse across Texas and California, Nevada, New Mexico, piece of Arizona up there. This is what it'll look like. If you're looks like if you're Charlie Walker in Arizona, Marty, you're probably going to see about the middle row on the far left is about all the sun that will be covered up. But that's an annular eclipse in the center. You'll have all the partial phases, and then you won't see the corona, and it won't get completely dark. You're going to see it get slightly dusty, get like dusk on there. So hope that we all can enjoy that in clear weather. Well, we got 4 birthdays to talk about. Marty, where's my hat? Here's my hat. I didn't put up the astronaut banner as we've had quite a busy day here at the American Space Museum, but wanted to give a shout out. Born on September 14th, yesterday was John Bennett Harrington, the first enrolled member of a Native American tribe to go to fly in space. And John is born in Wetumpka, Oklahoma, into the Chickasaw Nation on September 14th, 1958. Welcome to your golden years, as John, you are 57 65 years old now. A great guy. Here, I just show you how great a guy is. He ate a meal with Marty and I there at one of the local diners here. This was about a year ago when John was here. He was just here a few months ago also. And just a down-to-earth guy. He took his nation's flag up there for Chickasaw Nation. He was on STS-113 and spent 14 days in space, did a couple spacewalks, and he has got the most disgusting story to tell you about his spacewalk. And let's just say something came out of his nose that ended up on his faceplate. And had he not done what he had to do, he would have had to terminate the EVA and go in and clean that faceplate up. So what did he do? He used his tongue to clean it up with. John, I'll never get that story out of my mind. So a great guy, and we wish him well. John Harrington, 65th birthday yesterday. You can follow up on our Facebook post and wish him well there. Here's an astronaut I'd like to meet, Marty, whose birthday is tomorrow. Don't have any birthdays today, but because tomorrow's Saturday, happy 65th birthday also to Commander Pilot Kevin Kriegel. 4 space flights, grew up and born in Amityville, New York. His 4 flights in nearly 53 days include pilot of STS-70, which was a TDRS mission in 1995. STS-78 was a micro lab, the 3rd micro lab, I think. And then he was commander of STS-87, which was the 4th micro lab journey up in space. And then STS-99 was his last command, the radar topographic mission there. And there's a picture, still youthful looking Kevin Kriegel there. Like we said, he is 60, how old is he? 60, born in 56, so yeah, he's 67, or 68. Take that back, 67 makes 63. I said 65. So he's 67. He's worked at Johnson Space Center. And when he retired, after being a shuttle commander and a pilot, he loves flying, Marty. He became a Southwest Airlines pilot, just like Hoot Gibson did for many years. So don't know if he's retired out of that or not. A U.S. Air Force Academy graduate. So happy 67th birthday to Kevin Kriegel, twice a pilot, twice a commander. And we love our astronauts, none more than Pam Melroy. Pambo, our second in command of NASA, will be her birthday. She will be 62 years old tomorrow, or Sunday, I mean. We got 2 birthdays on Sunday. Pam Ann Melroy was born September 17th in Palo Alto, California. And she commanded STS-120, all right, after being a pilot of 92 and 112. Only the second woman, of course, Eileen Collins is the only other one to be a shuttle pilot and a commander of a shuttle. Now, we've had 2 female commanders of Crew Dragons, okay? You know, that's still a command up there. And here's Pam, a beautiful picture of her. She is the 15th Deputy Administrator of NASA, assumed office under the Joe Biden administration, under Bill Nelson, and third in charge, in case you didn't know, is Bob Cabana, 4-time shuttle pilot. She's flown over 50 different aircraft. STS-92 was Discovery, and STS-112 was Atlantis, and then her final flight was Discovery, where she was the commander in November of 2007. So she's married to a geologist, and she also was she was a commander of a spaceship, and we had Peggy Whitson, commander of the International Space Station, on her flight up there on 120 in October and November 2007. So good. We hope good things for Pam Melroy, and we think they're doing a good job with all they have there at NASA as we take Artemis back to the moon. And finally, the fourth birthday. You all know who this is: Thomas Patton Stafford. All right, Thomas Patton Stafford, like General Patton is his middle name there, and he is indeed a general and one of our national treasures like you can't believe. One of 24 people who flew to the moon. His orbital mission on Apollo 10, and the first to fly a lunar module in lunar orbit. He was, of course, with his buddy Gene Cernan. There's Tom Stafford, and a photograph taken by Tom Musiak at the pre-launch press conference of the Apollo-Soyuz test project in 1975. He is the last surviving member of Gemini 6, 9, and 10. He and Vance Brand are the only surviving crew members of the Apollo-Soyuz test project. Born September 17, 1930 in Weatherford, Oklahoma. There's Tom on the left, and on the right is Deke Slayton on the Apollo-Soyuz test project. There's his handprints out of Spaceview Park. 93 years old Sunday for General Tom Stafford. You must put his Space Museum in Weatherford, Oklahoma, his hometown. It's about 35, 40 minutes west of Oklahoma City, right on I-40. I've been there 4 times, Marty. It is a fabulous place. And happy birthday to Tom Stafford, 93. Still lives on the Space Coast, and he has put things in our auctions to help promote our American Space Museum. There's another great picture of Tom there, outside the Apollo 10 Saturn V rocket, and that would have been that was launched in April, I think. The landing was in July, so that would have been Apollo 10 went 2 months before there. So love to see him again. I met him a couple times. Marty, you ever met the General Stafford?
Yeah, I think I've met him about 4 times.
Yeah. He's a good guy, isn't he? He'll talk to you about anything, even at age 93. Hope you're doing well, Tom. The American Space Museum sends its best wishes as we have those 4 astronauts having birthdays, having birthdays coming up today. So, well, as we get to the end of our Stay Curious segment today, actually, this is our 895th episode. Believe it or not, born out of the pandemic and things that have been our wheelhouse are celebrating the shuttle era. As you look at the shuttles in space, 11 beautiful shuttles in the month of September orbiting the Earth with 65 astronauts, 5 of them women. We had 4 Atlantis, 4 Discovery, 3 Endeavour missions, and none for Columbia and Challenger. All right. Yesterday, on the 12th, we had 3 shuttles launched on the same day. And once we launch STS-79 on this date in history, okay, we have actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you count them. 8 shuttles in history are orbiting Earth on this date. And that entails over 47 astronauts can say on September 15th, I was orbiting the Earth. And the only one that's twice is Terry Wilcott. All right, so is on 79 and he's on another one. He's on 79. He's on 106. Wilcott is in this date in space history. I find that interesting, and these are some graphics that we're working on to clean up a little bit on there. Here are all of our 11 shuttles of the month. One of the big missions that we talked about was 47, which was actually launched in 92, and then 48 was launched in 91. All right, 48 was launched before 47. Of course, Dave Stang, he knows that. He's been watching our shows. Thank you, Dave. And Bill Whiting and Robert Law. Cynthia Rossi, The Astronaut Files, Doug Forrest, Carlton Bailey, Tom Usiak, and Gary Gerald. And they have all financially supported our American Space Museum in one way or the other, and hope that you can find a way to do the same by either clicking that button at the bottom here on YouTube or sending us a tax-deductible check, and you can find that address on our website. So these missions that we talked about, STS-79, lower left-hand corner there. I was going to try to find my real quick astronaut. Oh, not putting my hat on it. Wait a minute. What did I find here? Uh-oh. Look what I found here, guys. My Ohio State hat. Uh-oh. Well, we're playing a chump this weekend, so we will be playing Notre Dame in 2 weeks, so I'll be talking more about that. But what I was looking for was Tom Usiak's picture there. There's Tom and Carlton Bailey, and this is in on STS-79, them setting up their remote pictures in 1996, all right? And this is some of the results of that. There is the walkout, where you got Terry Wilcutt there in the foreground. Bill Reedy is the commander. Mission specialists were Tom Akers, John Blaha, Jay Apt, and Carl Waltz were on this there. Okay. And so this mission, who is in that picture there? That's Blaha in the back. Okay. And the highlights of this was the return of U.S. astronaut Shannon Lucid. And there's the launch on a Hasselblad camera that the UCX took. A beautiful night launch there at 4:54 a.m., the worst time of any time that a photographer wants to be up shooting rockets. Nonetheless, the guys, they have to do that. Shannon Lucid was picked up, but they went to the Mir space station, hence the handshake on the, I'll go back here, the lower left-hand corner is the mission patch and the handshake of Americans, Russians in space. And they're about to, they've been shaking hands the last hour as 2 Russians and an American docked with the American space station up there. So there's the walkout, there's the beautiful launch. It was the second flight of Space Hab module. All right, they transferred 2 tons of supplies to the Mir in 3 experiments, and then they brought back about 2 tons along with them, Shannon Lucid, as they took up John Blaha for his stay up there. And this is a picture that was part of STS-79 going on in September 1996. Because, Marty, what was going on in 1996?
The 96 Olympic Marathon, Olympics.
Yeah.
In Atlanta, Georgia.
In Atlanta, Georgia. And I told Marty, I tried to find the picture. Who's that, Marty? And what's he doing, since you know about this?
Yeah, that's Lawrence Shriver. And he brought the torch up to Launch Complex 39A.
And that's STS-79 behind there, Atlantis. And I tried to find the picture. Marty, you eventually ended up with the flame out of this torch, and right? How'd that happen? How'd that go? Did McCulley hand off to him, or Shriver hand off?
After him, the torch was run back to the visitor center, and then when it finally got to the visitor center, I was the last man, and I lit the cauldron at the end of the day. And I only did that because Mike McCulley was actually asked to light the cauldron, and Mike told the committee that he'd rather carry the torch in his hometown of Cocoa Beach. He said, I'd rather have Marty Winkle light the cauldron. So that's how I got to do it.
Always a class act, Mike McCulley, good friend of our museum, and he'll be helping us in our campaign, fundraising campaign that we're going to unleash here in a couple of weeks in a serious style there. So thank you, Marty, for that insight there. And to end, stay curious. On this date in space history, 5 wake-up calls to the astronauts involved songs off of these albums. In upper left-hand corner, The Bare Necessities. That was flight STS-48 from Jungle Book, and that was played for Ken Reitler's daughters, who were in Mission Control viewing room when they woke up Dad. Also in September, that was in 1991. In 1993, the wake-up call for STS-51 was a song by Perry Como there. Don't let the stars get in your eyes. And I don't know if anyone under 40 years old knows who Perry Como is, but he was one of those crooners of the 50s, 60s, and that's what I love about the 70s and 60s, Marty, is, yeah, you had the rock and roll, but you also had Frank Sinatra, Perry Como, you had, the Eagles, for gosh sakes, they were more country. So Perry Como there, woke up STS-51. Then in 1995, STS-69, the wake-up call was He's a Tramp from the cartoon movie Lady and the Tramp. And then in the year 2000, STS-106 was woke up to the University of Connecticut fight song because Terry Wilcutt, the commander, is from Hartford, Connecticut. And finally, mission specialist Joe Tanner, he requested the wake-up call on his mission of 115 from Hotel California, the Eagles song Hotel California. So a little bit of space trivia there that we like to pull up there. Humanize our astronauts. We talked a lot about them today. We have 666th human, a rookie Russian and a rookie American woman going to space. And that makes us up there. 75 females have been to space, over 10%, but way not enough, as our astronaut corps now is approaching 50-50 on males to females. So, Marty, thank you for a great job this week, and we're glad that you got to have a day off or two. We know it wasn't just for pleasure, but and we thank Selvin Trotcher for handling the board a couple of days this week. Thank you for doing this. The Tom Jones recorded show you've got to watch. He has got some great books. He's got a new book out, and you want to watch and hear his stories there. We had a lot of fun with Tom, and he went along with all the little playfulness that I had at the time. So, everybody, we appreciate your support of the American Space Museum. Tell your friends to watch us if you enjoyed the show. Don't tell anybody anything if you didn't enjoy the show, okay? But and we hope that you can find in your heart to donate to the American Space Museum like many of you already have. But we're going to unleash a true campaign, what I want to say, nonprofit style, to raise some of our operating funds and help you out, get a tax deduction here and there. So thank you, Marty. Anything else to comment over there?
Nope, we're good to go.
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody enjoying our program, and we're always open to your suggestions and ideas. So until next time, on behalf of the American Space Museum, your favorite nonprofit, the U.S. Space Walk of Fame Foundation, I'm Mark Marquette saying we can't wait to see you again to bridge the space between us.